Hello and welcome to the channel. Today's video, you're joining me on a very foggy, cold and misty day in South Wales, and we're going to see if the Google Pixel 8 Pro 8 is good enough to be your main video camera if you just casually vlog in and capturing your adventures. Thanks to the Pixel 9 being launched, I picked up the Pixel 8 Pro for just over £600 for a 256GB model, which I'm pretty happy with. It's a substantial saving over the original price, and it's a smartphone, brilliant smartphone at that, and it does offer an awful lot of potential for video. So we're using the camera on the Pixel 8 Pro now, and we'll use it for the whole video and just see what we can capture. The only thing I'm using in addition to the phone itself is the Wireless 2 Go microphones from Rode, just because there's a bit of wind noise up here and I want to capture some clear audio, but we will show what the audio is like out of the camera as well. What makes this phone very, very good for video is it does have a few different lenses. So it has a macro focusing mode, has an ultra wide lens, and has a dedicated telephoto lens as well. So you do get a lot more options over your standard action camera. Now the sensor in your action camera, if it's like the DJI Action 4 or Action 5, it's going to be slightly bigger. The stabilization is going to be better, but that is a standalone camera device. The Pixel 8 Pro is a smartphone that also happens to shoot pretty good video. I'm also not using any kind of gimbal. I'm just using a standard little mini tripod, and the stabilization is all being done in camera. I'm not going to apply any kind of editing in post to smoothing out any of the footage. I'm shooting with the HDR mode off currently, and it's shooting at 24 frames a second. So 24 frames a second is available on any of the front-facing cameras, but not the selfie camera. The selfie camera is only 30 frames a second, so you can't really mix it in with the 24 frames per second lenses, but obviously you can shoot all the lenses at 30 frames per second if you wish to. However, I tend to match in any footage I shoot on my Pixel 8 Pro with my main cameras, which are currently a Sony a7C Mark II, which is a 33 megapixel full frame camera. I've got a Sony RXO Mark II, which is a 1-inch type rugged little action camera, and I've also got the DJI Action 4 and a Sony HX99. So I've got some cameras to compare this to, so I do take a critical eye when I look at any footage I get off the phone, even though obviously it's not really fair comparing it to a £2,000 full frame camera. So I'd never been here before, but down in the valley there, the road in the mist hidden towards the top of the right hand side is the Rocking Stone, which we have been to. And then down over here we can see the winding wheel which we're looking for. So if we punch on that a little bit, that's what we're heading down to find. But I'm not quite sure how to get down there, so we'll follow the fence line around here a bit and see if we can get into it. So the other aspect, of course, of having this phone is autofocus. So unlike an action camera, which is just a fixed focus, it will hopefully recognise your face and focus on that if you're in frame. Obviously, if you're filming someone else, you can set to track them. But if you're filming yourself like I do most of the time, you're just hoping the camera is focused on you. And you can't tell because obviously in order to shoot 24 frames per second and use the better lenses, you're using the front-facing cameras, so you don't get to see yourself in the shot at all. You just hope you're reasonably well framed. So the recent rain has made that stream bed much bigger than it would have been, and you can see the old spoil and quite a lot of big lumps of coal still there. So you could probably come with a bag and stock up on coal if you had a coal burner at home. So we've had to come a long way down into the valley to go back up to this winding wheel, so I'm hoping now we shouldn't be much further to get there. I'm hoping this next little bit of walk is going to be okay as we scrouch through a bog. So here's the old quarry and the old works. And around here on the edge is the winding wheel, overlooking this fairly peaceful valley and a road I've driven on many times. Certainly is a sizable set of remains. I can see why they didn't want to take them away, because there's not much easy access up to this point at all. So here we are, the winding wheel, a place I'd never been before. It was on my to-do list, and today, being the weather it is, I didn't want to do anything else, so I thought I'd come here and I thought I'd shoot this video just using the Pixel 8 Pro to see how I got on with it. We'll go back and look at the footage and I'll give you a verdict to how it looks on the computer versus my normal cameras that I use. But in terms of the experience itself, it's very liberating just having one device with you. Got the wireless mics plugged in and switched on, so you can just shoot and film video whenever you want with that good audio. And yeah, switching between the lenses, it just gives you a lot of options for framing shots. So the telephoto to bring distant subjects. We've not seen any kind of wildlife or anything, but it can be useful for that. The wide lens, so you can get pretty close to things and just have a really expansive view. And the standard lens, I always think it looks quite good quality, quite sharp. And flicking back and forth between video and photos to really capture any kind of adventure that you're on is really good. I've found myself leaving my main camera at home all the time now, and my RX02 little camera as well. I find myself leaving it behind because I love the look of the photos straight out of the Pixel Pro, and obviously you can just share them straight online. So if you've got a full frame camera or my RX02, you've got to take photos, go home, put the raw files onto a PC, process them, upload them somewhere. It's just not an easy process, whereas if you've got your camera and it's your smartphone, snap a few shots out of the camera that are really good, upload straight to Instagram, Flickr, Google Reviews, any other place like that. So the convenience of having a phone that does it all is really good. So yeah, so far the Pixel 8 Pro, I've been really impressed with it. I've had it for a few months now, taken a lot of photos, a lot of video with it, and it's been really good. But I don't think, looking at the previous footage, it's enough to replace my main cameras all the time. But I wanted to just come out today and just shoot an exclusive video just with it to see exactly what it looks like. And I imagine if you're watching this on your phone, you're going to say the quality is really good, because when I watch it back on the phone, it looks brilliant. It's only sometimes when I put it on the PC that I notice the quality is not quite there in comparison to my main cameras. currently about 486 meters on the 3.0 Munford Walti. So I figured it'd be a good test just to do with the camera in my hand, just with the internal camera mics. Now there's a little bit of breeze up here, but it's not too windy. The Pixel Pro does have a noise reduction function, which I found much better than the ones on, say, your GoPro or your Action 4 cameras and stuff, your DJIs. But yeah, nothing beats external audio with a dead cat when you're out and about on adventures. But at an absolute push, if you try and get yourself sheltered from the wind, it'll just about work for audio. And you can see with the ultra wide lens being used, even just held at arm's distance, there's plenty of width, and the stabilization, even just handheld, is pretty good as well. Well, you've just witnessed the video that I shot exclusively on the Google Pixel 8, and we've now switched over to my DJI Action 4 to see really if you can notice any difference between a dedicated action camera and the video you just watched on my Pixel 8 Pro. Now, my honest opinion on the Pixel 8 Pro footage is I can definitely notice the difference between the Pixel 8 footage and my Sony RX02 with the 1-inch type sensor. The footage on that is just much superior in terms of sharpness and detail and just general clarity of image in 4K. However, I don't think there's much difference in terms of quality between the Action 4 and the Pixel 8 Pro. So as a secondary camera, I do think it's very, very good and comparable to an action camera. Action camera stability is going to be slightly better, but I've been really impressed by the stabilization in the Pixel 8 Pro. That video you've just seen was completely out of the camera footage from the Pixel 8 Pro, so no stabilization added in post, nothing done to the color, so the color straight out of camera as well. So it makes it a very, very easy phone to shoot on. In terms of picture quality, I find it better closer to objects. I think like the far away kind of landscapey type stuff, the image quality looks a little bit worse. So if you're mainly vlogging to camera like I am now, then the Pixel 8 Pro image quality is absolutely superb. I just have slight reservations around some of the more dedicated landscape type shots. Having said that, if you're watching on YouTube on your phone, chances are your phone by default is going to choose some lower quality resolution anyway, so I probably don't think there's a massive amount of difference between what cameras you use, unless you're sort of watching it on your massive TV and you're selecting 4K and getting the better resolution out of YouTube. It was a huge amount of fun just using the Pixel 8 Pro, switching between different lenses, ability to zoom and autofocus and stuff. I only really noticed the autofocus hunting on one occasion when I was just doing a pan-in shot of the distance landscape. I noticed it hunting once, but apart from that, it was pretty much spot on. Didn't do any kind of refocusing when I was doing my walk past shots, and anything I was doing stood up to camera a little bit of distance away was absolutely fine as well. I would say that the normal like 1x lens offers the best image quality. That always looks pretty sharp and good to me. The ultra wide lens to me looks sort of sharp in the center, and it's sharp if you're doing sort of vlogging to camera, but the kind of corners and even like the mid-frame looked really mushy to my eyes. However, I might be being a bit too harsh because the weather was pretty challenging for a small sensor camera. It was grey, it was misty, it was dark, so the noise you get in the kind of the shadows and the poorly lit parts, you do get similar noise in action cams as well. So on a better day, a sunnier day, I think the image quality would have looked a lot better, and that's my experience from shooting at different times. So all in all, if you want to start a YouTube channel, I don't think it makes a massive difference what device you use. If you've been able to pick up a Pixel 8 Pro for around £600, you are going to have a camera that is absolutely brilliant and capable of shooting entire YouTube videos, offering you a range of different creative options with the different lenses and enough quality to happily be displayed on most 4K screens. For anyone who wants to vlog, the image quality is absolutely brilliant and the skin tones are fine and the stabilization is really impressive. I think when the phone initially came out, maybe they've done some tweaks to the algorithm since, because people weren't that happy with the stabilization, but as someone who uses proper cameras and action cameras, proper cameras are an absolute nightmare to stabilise. The Pixel 8 Pro does really, really well. And hopefully you would have enjoyed the audio I shot up to Munif Bedwellty Trig Point as well. Shows that out of camera, the audio is actually pretty good. And I found the wind reduction software in the Pixel 8 Pro much better than on the action cameras I've used in the past. So in conclusion, yeah, if you get the chance to pick up a Pixel 8 Pro, or indeed Pixel 9 Pro for a good price, you are able to use it as a dedicated YouTube camera and get really good results. So I hope the video has been of some use to you. If it has, drop it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.